It's interesting because today's physicists have confirmed the teachings of the ancient scholars that everything is made of light. Everything is light. What happens to detox emotions is to make sure that when you start to feel a negative emotion, number one, slow down. Take a breath. Get outside. Maybe even go for a walk. Most people don't realize that if you're emotionally upset, you just don't know who you are. Shut up and go for a walk. You go out and you start walking when you're emotionally upset and negative and everything else is going on. Within 3 minutes, that walking, that motion of being outside in the open air, in the sunlight, reestablishes and clears it. The liver produces what is called today anions. Most people know it as bile. The one food that has anions, and it's the only food on the face of the earth they've ever been able to study that produces it, is lemons. And so we find that these people are lacking in typically a lot of emotional joy and happiness and the positive emotions, which weakens actually the function of the liver. And the liver is tied directly to the skin. And so if you'll get your body out into the sunshine and let the yellow light of the sun shine all on your body, they know it produces emotional molecules that target the liver. Well, they call it vitamin D, but that's only one of over 1,000 nutritional components of biophotons of sunlight. They've only named one, and they know there's thousands. So here's the deal. You drink 1 cup of fresh squeezed lemon juice every day for 90 days, and because the liver goes into mitosis or cellular division and replaces itself every 90 days, if you're being toxic emotionally and even in your diet, the new liver is weaker in function and can eventually fail. If all of a sudden you're getting into the sunlight, you're drinking lemon juice, which has the anions of bile, so the liver doesn't have to produce it, it's not stressed. Within 90 days, we've had people with failed livers have 100% functional liver within 90 days.
The main thing that epidemic, even mainstream medical doctors are checking people for vitamin D deficiency. You know, we've been taught to stay out of the sun, and so now we don't have enough vitamin D, and vitamin D is very important for your mood, it's very important for your health. And the only way to actually fix the storage unit, the only way to make new neurotransmitters is through a better diet or amino acid therapy and vitamins and minerals.
In Western medicine, they have what they call the 7 levels of neuroendocrine glands. In a lot of other cultures, they know it as the 7 chakras, the exact same levels. Those chakras, those 7 areas of the neuroendocrine systems of the body, running from the pineal in the brain, right on down through the body to the reproductive organs of the ovaries and testicles and everything in between. They had assigned anciently the colors of the rainbow moving up. And it's so interesting because it's the colors of the foods that target specifically those levels of the chakras of the neuroendocrine system and the emotions of positiveness or the emotions of negativeness in those levels. Red was a color that the ancients knew represented power and love and warmth. If you look at red and look away, you're probably going to see green. That color green, eating those foods, gets rid of the negative emotions of the color red, which is anger. Oh, you're seeing red. Yeah. If you're angry, if you're irritated, if your buttons are pushed too easy, you need to eat more green foods to clear the negative emotions. The fastest way to heal the emotions, according to the ancient wisdom, was to be able to stop eating, because foods create moods. Fast, faster, and fastest. To fast doesn't mean to starve to death. It means to strengthen, to hold fast, to hold firm. And the ancients knew that. There's not one animal on the face of this earth, if it's sick or injured in any way, will eat. Even cats and dogs, they'll eat grass to make themselves puke and throw up to get rid of everything. And then they will never eat again until they know their body has hit a point of strengthening, of holding firm. But what if you were to fast just on water? Because water has all 7 spectral colors of the rainbow. That's why you can see a rainbow in the sky when it rains and light shines through it. A faster, not as fastest, but a faster way is to drink the bloods or the juices of colored foods. When you eat dark chocolate, the cacao or cocoa bean, the real one, not the fake stuff that's in so many products, but real dark chocolate, or hops in unfiltered organic beer, they are all of the same genus. They're all of the same family. Every one of those things is to create happiness and joy within the human experience. I've even helped people addicted to different drugs and cigarette smoking, commercial cigarettes, which are toxic. And you can use something as simple as good black licorice and macadamia nuts. You have them together, you carry them with you. Whenever you feel like having a cigarette or you have some other addiction, you eat that first. You would not believe the hundreds and hundreds of people that have overcome their chemical and emotional addictions to things. And these are the things we've got to get back to. What foods and drinks can we have to target any stress or emotions that can be negative in the human system? I love this ancient wisdom because it works.
So a lot of times, if you are whole and healed and you are vibrating at a high frequency without these negative things, you can have toxicity come around, or you can have disease come near. I mean, we're constantly being exposed to the retrovirus, which is the cold virus. But what happens is, if your cells are full of happy emotions, there's no place actually for that virus or for that toxicity to get into the cell.
We have several techniques that we use for letting go of the emotions that we are carrying. And one of them, which is my favorite, is the Ho'oponopono. The Ho'oponopono comes from indigenous Hawaii, and it literally means to make right. It is 4 simple phrases. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. For instance, if a person has a breakup and they're experiencing a lot of pain and they're not even sure why that breakup happened, this is a great place to use the Ho'oponopono. So an individual would look inside and just really access that pain that they're feeling, and then they would say, I'm sorry for whatever reason this is showing up. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. It's literally taking 100% responsibility for whatever shows up in our life. You'll have a big emotional release. Sometimes you might cry. Sometimes you just feel a tremendous amount of peace. And then you let it go. I know this sounds so simple, too simple. This is frequently what I hear in the work that I do, that these tools are simple. But if you do it, you will see huge transformation begin to take place in your life.
What's so important to recognize is life is not about what happens to you. Life is all about how you choose to respond.
Many things that I believe affects people is unworthiness, doubt, fear, shame, and guilt. Because these emotions have affected the human race for centuries.
The biggest cloud to our perception is fear. And we're so accustomed to it, and we're so inside the matrix of it, we consider it a normal part of our reality, and one that we just at best can manage, maybe play, dodgeball with or hide and seek. But what I do is I actually help people move through that wall of fear by simply taking a breath, asking them to put their hand on their heart and focus their attention to where they are in present time, looking at what's right in front of them. And then I say, what are you afraid of? And then you do it again. If I weren't afraid, I would. And let your heart speak. And within 2 minutes, 3 minutes, they've emptied that fear. They have looked at it, vocalized it, but coming back to the moment, they see that I anchor them back in present time. Because it's not fear that actually keeps us trapped. It's hiding fear that keeps us trapped.
Then we're able to be in our body in a peaceful way. We're able to rest in our feelings and not be so much in our heads. And the neat thing about this process is that as we begin to get vulnerable again to feeling, we also begin to experience this fearless part of our nature. There's a part of us that is truly unafraid. And we need to be reminded of that part of us.
As you begin to step towards your path and purpose and reconnect and realign with that kind of spiritual integrity, the universe is stepping toward you. So there's this convergence going on until eventually you're being met by opportunities.
Let's say you're having trouble paying your bills, and you go into the feelings around paying those bills, and all of a sudden there's money to pay the bills, and it comes from places you couldn't imagine. Or maybe they just find an error in your bill. It's just really amazing how life and the illusion changes because of that.
I worked on a 33-year-old woman once who had never been in a long-term relationship. And she was an attractive woman, and I asked her, why? What happened to you that makes you feel this way? She said 8 years before, she was very deeply involved with a man that she was very much in love with, and he dumped her and broke her heart. Well, as you might imagine, that created a wall of trapped emotional negative energies around her heart, a heart wall. We cleared those emotions, and when that very last emotion was released, I felt the energy coming out of her heart. It was as if a stone had been rolled away. And I was suddenly, instantly bathed in the most beautiful, amazing energy coming out of her core. And I told her, I said, now that heart of yours is unlocked. And I said, that pure essence of who you really are is now radiating out from you, and it's filling the immensity of space. I said, you're much more likely now to be able to achieve your dream and your goal of falling in love and finding your soulmate within this next year. Now, this is not unusual. When the heart wall is taken down and those trapped emotions are released, the phone sometimes starts to ring. For women who have been hoping it would ring, it suddenly does. That energy goes out from your body, and I believe that it does fill the immensity of space, and other people tune into that, and then they're attracted to that.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you, yeah. So, you work here?
Yeah. Level 11.
This is a little bit bold, but, do you reckon we can hang out sometime? Do a coffee or juice or something?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, should I get your phone number? Or?
Yeah, why not? 415 503 5933. I'm Lauren, by the way.
Hi, Lauren, I'm Ty.
Nice to meet you. This is me.
Well, thanks, Lauren. It was nice to meet you, huh?
Nice to meet you too.
Okay.
Now, I want you to think about something. She's never been able to have a long-term relationship. Why? Because she had a heart wall. And when she would see an attractive guy, her heart would send a little butterfly of love towards that guy. But that little butterfly of love, that little love energy from her heart would have to pass through those layers of anger and resentment and depression and frustration and sorrow and sadness. And by the time it got out on the other side of that energy, it wasn't a little butterfly anymore. It was probably more like a gargoyle. And the guy on the other end would sense that and go the other direction. See? That's how this is working.
So another technique that we use is called, oddly enough, the walker from Reno. And you're thinking about some kind of conflict that you have with somebody else. And basically what you do is you just put your hands over your heart and you would say, my heart is full of love and understanding. my heart is full of love and understanding. For instance, if I'm angry or upset with my husband, I'll do it for myself. My heart is full of love and understanding, sometimes 10 or 20 times, whatever allows you to come to a place of peace. And then I'll do it for my husband. John's heart is full of understanding, or Greg's heart is full of love and understanding. Whoever your partner is, you'll want to personalize it. And then it allows us to change the perspective, to have an understanding that most of the time people are not trying to hurt us, but rather they just missed the boat or we missed the boat. And so this is the way that we can clear that.
The experience